All right, we are going live, but this one took a lot of prepping, and so I'm a little bit late, but it's going to be worth it, I promise. So, you get to watch me finish getting set up while everybody gets in here. All right, let's get you set up. Oh no! I almost forgot to get my drink. I'll be right back. This is critical. We cannot have a cheers with chaps if Papa Jack doesn't have his drink. Hold on a moment. All right. We got some people getting in. Perfect. And look at that. The timing is just right. Great. So let's go ahead and begin today's wonderful lesson. Camera looks right. Is this, you can read this? It's the right way? Awesome. Good. Oh, okay. Man. What a day. What a topic. I'm ready for this, though. This is going to be fun. This is going to be a good time. Today, you're going to be learning some of my real secrets. The stuff that I don't usually talk about because it sounds a little bit like I'm just here to love on myself and I'm here to brag. And that's not it. Instead, I'm going to teach you all the secrets that I had to figure out the hard way about how to actually date the kinds of girls who I was meeting before when I was single. How to date the really hot ones, the really special ones, the ones that you see and you say to yourself, man, she's got to be dating someone. So how does that guy get this job? I want that job, right? And today you're going to learn everything about that. And you're going to learn all the secrets about it. However, if you would like to truly experience the height of all of humanity, if you want to take this up a level and reach the culmination of all of civilization, all you need to do, oh no, wait, I need to get this thing printed off so that I can have it available. All right, if you are ready, you need to grab your glass, your mug, or your flask, a chalice, a stein, or even a cask. Raise it high. Let's make a splash. It's time now for our libation bash. Toast the night and enjoy the mood. Together now, we drink some booze. On your mark, let's not wait. It's cheers with chaps, so don't be late. Cheers, boys. Oh, what's up, pretty Ricky? You're watching it at the laundromat. Nice. I got myself a Netflix and chill beer today, which I did not know existed. But, hey, cool. Cool. And it's surprisingly good. Yeah. Yeah, that tastes like cheap anonymous sex. Perfect. Wow. They really nailed the flavor on this one. All right, let's jump into today's lesson. So today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to date models and pop stars. How an old, fat, bald dude like me was able to date girls that you see on Instagram and you go, what the fuck? This girl is beyond compare. Okay, yeah. Those girls do date people, and some of them dated me. There's a way to do it, and it's not what you think. Most guys think, oh, it's all about you just have to have all the muscles or all the money, or you need to be just disgustingly handsome. Clearly not. Clearly not. So, why? How was I able to do it? I was able to do it purely through the power of personality and being the fun guy. Not like a mushroom, but like the guy who they actually want to be around. I know. Sounds crazy, right? Sounds crazy. You mean girls who you date actually want to be around you? Yes, that is exactly what I mean. And today I'm going to be teaching you all the secrets that I was able to use and I was able to employ in order to be that guy. Now, let's get the microphone a little bit closer. Make sure that we are completely audible. I know you guys love my duct tape production where I never know what the hell's going on, and I'm always kind of trying to figure it out as I go. That's what it is. That's the secret. The secret is don't know anything. If you know nothing, then you're always right. Kind of. No, it's all about the power of personality. So first we need to go over what that means. What is personality and why is it so powerful? Here's the thing. Personality basically just means there's something interesting about you. There's something fun about you. There's something special, something different, something that you are able to do and to show people that is different from their normal everyday lives. And it's incredibly powerful because it breaks people out of their reverie, out of their waking trance that most people live their lives in, and it brings them to almost a different world, like Aladdin and Princess Jasmine. You show her a whole new world. You show her the excitement and the fun and the energy that seemingly everyday, boring, routine activities can now take on, because you are literally changing the world around you and around her. Now, I've talked a little bit before about how to actually mold and shape the reality around you, about how you can actually I don't like using Tate-isms, but he always talks about breaking out of the matrix, and in a different way this is kind of like that, except we're not breaking out of the matrix. We're using the matrix. We're showing her that there is no spoon. We're showing her kung fu. We're showing her the code of reality, because we can just bend it and do whatever we want. If you don't know how to do that yet, I highly recommend you check out that live stream from, when was that? Maybe a month ago, maybe like 4 or 5 weeks ago, somewhere in that range, where I told you about how to literally reprogram the world around you and change reality into whatever you wanted. Yeah, you can use that and you can change the world that she's in, and you can give her a more fun, a more engaging, a more exciting reality through the use of personality, right? Here's the thing about personality. First, we need to talk about the ugly truth about leagues, right? Because this is one that I hear all the time. I hear guys talk about like, oh, she's out of your league, you're not good enough for her, or you're out of her league, or something like that. Here's the thing. Those don't exist. That's the ugly truth about them. People think that they exist because people tend to work in a very shallow and basic understanding of the world and of reality and of human interaction. Most people don't know any of the stuff that I'm teaching you. If you even watched one of my live streams, I'm not exaggerating when I say you're already in the top 10% of most well-informed people whenever it comes to dating, whenever it comes to relationships, whenever it comes to human interactions, whenever it comes to understanding the psychology of women and how people act and why they act this way. You don't realize how little most people know and how little they understand. And this is especially true about women, because they don't need to learn any of this stuff. We talked about this before whenever we were talking about why it's so important to approach women. She doesn't have to learn games. She doesn't have to learn how to approach. You do. Not fair, sure, but it's the reality. However, because you're learning all these things, you actually have a much keener understanding of all of these different aspects of humanity and of our interactions. So the fact that people think that there is even such a thing as leagues as a girl who's too good for you, or a girl who's too high status or too beautiful or too rich or too famous or too anything. They don't understand how people work. They have no idea. If you don't believe me, look at the kinds of people who marry tech billionaires or who marry the daughters of celebrities or whatever. It's usually just some guy or just some girl, right? It's just someone who was around. Not somebody special, not somebody who's particularly high status, not somebody who's also, connected with the right families and anything like that. Because that stuff actually doesn't matter. Used to, but that's talking about, like weird European treaties and shit, marrying for political power. That's not the world we live in today. Now we live in a world where your family name doesn't really matter, where your monetary status, as long as you have enough money to get by, you're not struggling, kind of doesn't matter. Same thing, your social status, your fame, whatever else, those can work in your favor, but not having them doesn't matter at all. These things, leagues, do not exist. If you don't believe me, see how many ridiculously hot girls are dating busted dudes. Hey, hell, famous example of this is Skeet Davidson, right? That dude has banged every hot thing with a pulse, and he's busted. And he's not really talented either. He's mostly famous for having banged all the hot girls, right? Why? Power of personality. That dude has personality in spades. He's interesting. He draws people in. They want to share in his story, and they want to share their story with him too. This is the power of personality. So forget leagues. Toss it all out the window. Literally does not matter. We will get to what does matter in a little bit and why you shouldn't just jump straight into this. I should warn you now at this point that this whole lesson is going to be a higher level, more difficult lesson. This is mostly targeted to people who have already been through, at least through my course, if not through my coaching program as well, because this is going to be difficult stuff to start to just jump in and do. If you're new to dating, to women, to game, to all this stuff, that's fine. You can listen to this and it's going to plant seeds of reality in your mind and they will sprout later on. So this is still good information to have, but it's not going to be as immediately applicable to you. However, let's jump into the stuff you actually need to know. First one, most people are boring as fuck. This includes men and women and anybody in between. I don't know. Most people, though, are just so dreadfully dull and boring. They get into a routine rut. You wake up in the morning, you get ready, you go to work, you do the thing at work, you finish at work, and then you go home, you have dinner, maybe you watch a show on Netflix, and then you go to sleep. You wake up the next day and you do the exact same thing again. You know if you're in a routine rut, because if you haven't seen someone for 1 week and they say, "Oh, how was your week? What did you do?" And your answer is, "Oh, it was fine, I guess. Nothing really special, nothing exciting." You're in a routine rut. You are. If you don't have something exciting to share after a whole week, I know that doesn't sound like very long to you, but the honest truth is, if you go a whole week and you don't have some new story to tell, if you don't have some new experience, something exciting to talk about, you're in a routine rut and you're not living an exciting life. You might be thinking to yourself, "But Papa Jack, how can I just live an exciting life? I mean, what do you do every day?" Right? Fair question. My life is pretty routine as well. I wake up, take client calls, do coaching calls. I do a little bit of one-on-one teaching during the day with some adults, come home at night, do some more coaching calls, and then maybe play a little PlayStation and go to bed. Pretty boring, right? Hell no, it's not, because it's all about your frame. It's all about how you're looking at something. So if I explain it to you in a boring way, like most people do, then it sounds boring and it's going to come across as boring. And I'm not injecting any of my personality into it, because the power here is in the personality. But instead, if I say, listen, this is wild. I got a call last night from one of my clients. He had just broken up with this girl, and then she called him a week later after I said, listen, cut off contact. Don't talk to her at all. And he's like, no, but I can't do that. I can't do that. Can't do that, right? Like I need to get in touch with her. I need to talk to her. And I was like, cut it off. Just cut it. And then last night he got a call from her. She's like, hey, I have to see you right now. I have to see you. And so he called me and he was asking for advice. How do I deal with this? What should I do? I'm already on my way over there. What am I going to be doing? All right, cool. I talked him through it. Everything went well. And then I got another message from him this morning. And he's like, oh my God, Jack, listen, your advice worked perfectly, but now it may have worked too well because now she wants to get into a relationship. And I don't think that that's what I want to do. Okay, cool. That was last night. And that was about 30 minutes of my time. And I can tell that to you as an exciting story. I could tell you the story about today, how I went on an Insta date with a girl who I had just met. Not to try and bang her or anything, because despite appearances, I am actually pretty loyal and faithful. But just to have a fun lunch Insta date, because I do still practice what I preach. And I talk to people everywhere that I go. And I started chatting up this girl. And I said, listen, I don't have a whole lot of time right now. I only have about an hour, but I'm on my way to get some lunch right now. Let's go together and we can continue this conversation and have lunch together. Okay, yeah, sure. I went on an Insta date today with a girl who I don't know. That's pretty exciting, isn't it? Or I could be boring like most people and just be like, oh, I went to lunch today. I talked to someone. She was kind of cool, I guess. But yeah, and then I just went to work. That is literally living in a waking trance. And this is what most people do. They go through life on this kind of zombie mode where they just go through the motions and do the thing that they're supposed to do, but they don't pay attention to any of it. They don't look at it as an exciting thing. They don't turn it into stories, into something that they can experience, that they can enjoy. Instead, they just let life wash over them. Like you're just laying on the beach and then the waves are just, and that's how they live life. So the fact is that most people are boring as hell, not because they don't have something interesting going on in their lives, but because they choose not to acknowledge the interesting and exciting stuff that is happening in their lives. So pay attention to the things that are going on around you. Learn how to tell a story. Learn how to lead a conversation in a fun way. And you will instantly stand out as somebody who is not boring, somebody who is interesting, somebody who is exciting, somebody who has personality. You guys know I talk a lot about how most people are NPCs, and most people won't know what that means. They won't understand what I mean whenever I say, yeah, they're all NPCs, right? Everybody kind of gets it though. Everybody kind of understands that the NPCs are the people who just let life happen to them, who let life happen around them. And those people are boring as hell. I know, because I teach some of them. And whenever I talk to them and I say, so how was your week? What did you do this week? And they say, oh, it's just a normal week. It's just so. I was talking to this guy just on Tuesday, and I asked him that exact question. I said, how was your week? What'd you do? And he said, oh, yeah, nothing special, nothing really. I was like, really? Nothing at all in a whole week. What did you do this weekend? And he said, I went to a cafe with my family. And I was, okay, tell me more about this cafe. And he said, oh, actually, the cafe was pretty cool. They had alpacas there. And I was like, wait, stop, wait. You're telling me you went to an alpaca cafe? That exists? That's so cool. And then whenever I ask you how your week was and what did you do, you said nothing? You went to an alpaca cafe in the middle of one of the largest cities in the world You didn't think that stood out as noteworthy. Not because he's an idiot. He's not. He's just boring as fuck. He's too busy not paying attention, just living life in zombie mode, in his waking trance, to even notice how cool something like that is. You go to a cafe in a massive city and you have large, are they no, they're not marsupials. You have large mammals that have been imported in from the other side of the world to live here, and you get to play with them and pet them, and your kids get to play with them, and it's a great time, and you didn't even think like, oh, I guess that's kind of interesting. Wild. Pay attention to the things that are happening in your life. Create stories in your mind, and you will instantly become 10 times or more interesting. You'll have more personality that you can show. This is incredibly effective, especially when compared to, everybody else who is boring as hell, who doesn't have stories, who doesn't have exciting things to share, who doesn't live a fun life. And yes, you do. You do. You live a fun life. You have amazing stuff happening to you every day that you just might not be paying attention to. So start paying attention to the things that are happening. Start creating the stories in your mind. You're never even going to have to retell these stories. That's not the point. The point is whenever you start framing your life as exciting, as fun, as interesting, and you start creating these stories in your mind, all of a sudden, you start seeing more of them. You start experiencing your life more. You start enjoying your life more. And as a byproduct, you will be way more interesting and exciting to talk to. So if you want to be able to use your personality to actually attract and get the really hot girls, the models and the pop stars, this is what you have to be doing. You have to be living an amazing life. If you are, no, let me put it a different way. If a girl has to choose between a guy who's drop dead gorgeous, he's got the looks, the money, the muscles, everything else, or me, it's actually a lot closer than you think. It's basically a push, depending on whether or not I get to talk to her. If she gives me the chance to talk to her first, I win every time. If she doesn't, if she rejects me because of how I look, which happens as well, then that guy wins every time. So, and he doesn't win for long because nobody wants to stay around somebody who's just dead boring. So he might win for tonight, for a month, but not for very long. Instead, whenever she has a chance to talk to me, I come out on top every time, despite not having any of those other things. This is all about personality. Now, let's talk about how to actually be the life of the party, because this is going to be your key. I know that some of you are probably thinking to yourself, okay, well, Jack, how do you even meet these girls? Because you're not going to meet them with a Netflix and chill kind of line, are you? There's zero chance of me ever matching with a model or a pop star or any of these other really hot girls that I've dated. If I go onto Tinder, onto Bumble, onto Hinge, onto Plenty of Fish or OkCupid, do people even still use that? Is that a thing? Do they still use eHarmony? Maybe. Anyway, there's no chance of me matching with that girl on there. So how can I meet her? How can I be in a situation where I'm even around her, where I'm in the same room with her? You are more often than you think. Listen, these girls who are models, who are pop stars, who are all these things, they also live their life. They also go to places. They go to cafes. They go to restaurants. They maybe, depending on which one they are, pop stars aren't allowed to, but the models at least go to bars. They go to these places. You can meet them there. Problem is, you got to actually meet them. You got to learn how to do the approaches, and you have to be interesting. But if you're in a situation like that, especially if you're in some kind of a social or semi-social situation like a bar, or to a lesser extent nightclubs, because those aren't really social. But if you're in a bar, like a party bar or a pub or something like that, you want to already be the life of the party. You want to be the one that everybody is drawn to. You want to be that magnetic person, the one that everybody wants to talk to, everybody wants to hang out with. And here's the fun bit. If you actually achieve this, and then you go over and approach one of these girls who's stunningly beautiful, they get nervous. They get anxious because they feel like you are out of their league, because they're sitting there being a wallflower and not talking to people, because most people are boring as fuck. This includes models. This includes high status, high power, high fame, high money, all that stuff. All of these people, they might be great at something. They might be famous. They might be super beautiful. They might be extremely talented, whatever. They're still boring. They're still boring. So you want to be the life of the party. How can you do that? Great question. Your goal is to be the roller coaster, not the merry-go-round. Most people, whenever they try to be interesting or to be entertaining or to tell jokes or to tell a story or whatever, they tell this kind of boring thing, or they make the same joke every single time, and it's routine and it's the same all the time, and they're basically just like a merry-go-round, right? They're moving, they're doing something, which is good, better than doing nothing, but still just boring. Instead, you want to be the roller coaster. You want to have that up and down, the highs and lows, the push, the pull. You want everybody to be feeling this energy from you, this energy of, oh, this guy talks to everybody. Now, for those of you watching, if you were in Korea for either my birthday party, or for Paul's going away, or for Marie's going away party, or even if you've just been out on one of my Saturday night benders with me, you know what I'm talking about. You know that feeling when Jack is there and everybody's kind of all together-ish, but they're all kind of doing their own little things and having their own little conversations. And Papa Jack is just bouncing around like, oh yeah, how's everything going, guys? The guy who controls the whole room. He doesn't control a conversation. He controls the room. He sets the mood, the feeling, the tone. How do you do that? Well, start by not being boring, right? Start by literally creating stories, making things happen, turning everything up. And this is a big one. We're going to get to this in a minute. We're going to get to this one. Actually, let me go ahead and underline that, because I want to talk a little bit more about this. But understanding people on an individual level, understanding who they are, what they want, what they care about, what's important to them, talking to them, not at them, not with them, but, well, yeah, with them, not at them, but having a good conversation and actually getting into their mind, into their life, caring about what they're saying, paying attention to it, remembering things. All of this stuff is going to have a deeply profound impact on how people see you, on how they receive you, on how they perceive you. And they are going to feel drawn to you. They are going to feel like you are magnetic, because everybody loves something that's rare. And everybody loves when somebody cares about them, especially when they have other options, when they have other things going on. So let's quickly talk about your hacks for actually becoming magnetic. You basically have a charisma trifecta, the three things that are most important to make you charismatic, to the point where people want to just be in your orbit. Even if you don't pay too much attention to them, they're happy to just be there and be around and be part of your story. That's what a magnetic personality creates. And your three things that are going to matter most for creating that charismatic, magnetic personality are going to be wit, which we've gone over a bit. We'll go over some more here. Emotional intelligence, your EQ, as opposed to your IQ. Your emotional intelligence and your confidence. All right, let's go backwards on these because this one, God, I've gone through this so many times. So, confidence. Here, let me just draw it out for you, right? Confidence is truth plus cockiness or assertiveness. So you have to be true or congruent, right? We can write it like that. Congruence. And the place where congruence or truth or honesty or being yourself, right? Which we've gone over that a dozen times. Where that meets along with cockiness, with braggadociousness, with being just generally aggressive, and grandstanding, things like that. This middle spot is actually where confidence lives. Everybody hates people who are too cocky, who brag, who lie, who make up bullshit. Nobody likes that guy. But whenever the cockiness comes with truth, with congruence, whenever it's real, when it's something you can actually back up with what you're saying, that creates confidence. Where those two meet is confidence. So if you're not sure how to create confidence, or if you're not sure how to become congruent, or if you're not sure how to act cocky or anything like that, then actually what you should do is you should head over to realjacknorth.com right now and sign up for a free call with me, where you can get a one-on-one call with me, and I will help you to create a personalized dating strategy just for you, based entirely on your situation and your personality, no matter what it is, no matter where you are, no matter what you're trying to do, and we can get you moving in the right direction on this. So that's the confidence part of the charisma trifecta. The next part, emotional intelligence. This is maybe the most important part of all of this, because this is the part that's really going to make you stand out, not necessarily in the moment, but later, over the next couple of times you meet, over the next few dates, over the course of a relationship. Things like this are going to matter the most, because whenever you're talking to somebody, most people just are kind of waiting for their turn to talk, which I know sounds hypocritical coming from a dude who is literally just talking to himself in a camera right now. But if you talk to somebody on a personal level and you actually listen to them, you hear what they're saying, you pay attention to their worries, to what makes them excited, to whatever story they tell you about their sister or their dog or something, and then you pay attention and remember things. Start by remembering her name. And I know you might be thinking to yourself, well, Papa Jack, I can remember somebody's name, right? Especially if she's so beautiful. Okay, if you can remember that, which 50-50, right? Coin flip on whether or not you actually can. A lot of people can't. A lot of people don't pay enough attention. So if you can, awesome. Then why don't you remember the other things also? Why don't you pay attention? Why is it that I still know the name of the sister or of the dog or of the brother, or I still know the story of the aunt or the grandmother or the boss or the coworker or whatever from people I dated years ago, over a decade ago, and I still remember those things about them. Why? Not because I have a steel trap memory, anything like nothing of the sort at all. I drink way too much for that. But I paid attention. I listened. I wanted to hear what they had to say, and I made it real for myself. I was really focused in on what it is that they were trying to tell me. Not just the words they were saying, not just the story. That's not what I mean here. You might be able to repeat back word for word everything she said. That means nothing if you don't understand what she's trying to communicate to you. Why is she telling you this story? Or why is she telling you this fact? Or why is she telling you about her dog or her boss or her work? Is she trying to tell you that it's something that's important to her? Is she trying to tell you that it's something that she wants to solve? She wants to find a way to get out of it. Is she trying to tell you that it's something that you need to know before you come over to my place, so that when you meet my dog, you already know his name? And actually, you know that it's a girl and not a boy, and you can play with it and you'll be excited to see it. And maybe she's giving you a reason to invite yourself over to her place. Or maybe she's asking if you have a dog too. Maybe she wants to find something to connect with you on. All of these things are possible. There's not a clear and defined answer on whatever it is. This is why you have to listen. You have to pay attention. You have to actually process not just the words she's saying, but what she's meaning by them. What is she trying to tell you, to give you? Because this is what communication is it's giving something to the other person. Might be information, might be explaining my feelings. So I'm giving you, again, information about what I think about something. It might be giving you something that she wants you to then turn into a connection, into something that you can have in common, into something that you can share, into anything like that. She might be telling you, oh yeah, my favorite vacation ever was whenever I went to Disney World with my family when I was young. And she's telling you this because secretly she hopes that you'll ask to take her to Lotte World or to Soul Land or to Everland or whatever else, right? So if you're paying attention, if you're listening, why was that your favorite vacation? Okay, that's really cool, neat. You know what? Actually, I've been wanting to go to Everland for years now, and I just haven't been able to find a reason to go. But now that I think about it, actually, it would be really fun. What are you doing next Saturday? Let's go to Everland together. I think that'll be great. It'll be a lot of fun. Cool. If you're listening and if you're understanding her correctly, that's a slam dunk. This is why the emotional intelligence part is so important. Now, remember the very first part of this, remembering names. Most people can't remember names for more than a few seconds. So whenever somebody introduces themselves, or even better, whenever you use Papa Jack's patented perfect pickup line, hey, my name is Jack. It's nice to meet you. What's your name? And then she tells you her name. Use it in a sentence. Use it a few times if you possibly can. Use it at the start of a sentence. Use it, comment on the name. Maria, that's a very interesting name, Maria. Now let me ask you, how often do guys come up to you and try to sing it to you, right? Maria, Maria. And now all of a sudden it's stuck in your mind. And you're using your wit because you're not just accepting it at face value. You're actually saying, okay, cool. I see a thing here. How can I connect that to other things? Most of what wit is, I talked before, I did a whole lesson about humor, about the different types of humor, about how to create them, about examples, about all of them. And most of wit or most of humor is actually just connecting to things that seem to be unrelated or making a reference to something else that nobody is expecting at the time. Because if it's obvious, if everybody's expecting it, then it's not witty. It's not interesting. However, like in the example that I just gave, the non-witty answer is to start singing Maria at her. But the witty answer is to be like, oh my God, I bet guys do this shit to you all the time, don't they? Because this is showing I have experience with this. I've seen this thing before. I've seen guys try this thing before, and it fails every single time. But this one, where you just take it one step further, you take it to the, wait, I didn't expect this. How would you know that guys always try to do that to me and that I hate it and that it fails every time? Because I have the experience to know that stuff. Actually, I'd like to talk to you a little bit more about that, Maria. How old do you think I am? Do you think that? I know. I got that baby face, but surely you don't think that I'm 17. No, I've been around the block at least 2 or 3 times. You making stupid comments like that, taking things that are unexpected, saying, oh, I have a baby face. Surely you don't think I'm 17. Unexpected. Nobody expects that, right? Why? Because, Jack, you're like not even close to 17. You're more than double that. So no one's actually going to think that. Right. That's why it's funny. It's the unexpected thing. It's the thing that is unrelated or unexpected. So whenever you can create things like that, whether that's by making some kind of connection, making some kind of reference, turning something into a joke, playing with words, turning things around, subverting expectations, turning the tables on her, something like that. Anything that is the unexpected is going to come across as wit. And as we talked about before, perception is reality. You might not even be that clever, but you've figured out a few ways to connect interesting things together, and you come across as witty. Not necessarily clever, not necessarily smart, intelligent. On that note, you might be thinking to yourself, but Jack, I want her to think that I'm smart. I want her to know how intelligent I am. No, you don't. No, you don't. You absolutely do not. You know why? Because the 3 traits that women care the least about, the least important 3 traits in a man: intelligence, kindness, and loyalty. Those 3 things, I mean, they'd rather have it than not, but they actually just don't care. They really don't. So if you want her to think that you're intelligent, you're already failing. That's not what you want. You want her to think that you're witty. You want her to think that you have personality. You want her to think that you're exciting, that you're fun, that you're the roller coaster. Intelligence is reading a goddamn textbook, and that's the most boring shit in the world, right? You can be intelligent, but boring. If I had to choose between intelligent or exciting, I'm choosing the exciting dum-dum every single time. Every single time. And this is one of the mistakes that guys make whenever they look at patterns and they misread the pattern. They think to themselves, oh, women like bad boys. They like these dumb guys who are going to break their heart and they're assholes and they're this, that, and the other thing. It's like, no, they don't like bad guys. You're just reading the pattern wrong. They just literally don't care if you're intelligent or if you're kind or if you're loyal. They care if you're exciting. So if you're smart, kind, and loyal, but that's it, that's the actual pattern. It's that she doesn't care about those traits. Now, you can keep those traits. That's good. Excellent. I'm glad that you have those. I'm very happy for you. Those are nice things to have. Very good. Very useful, especially in life. However, you need to add excitement. You have to add excitement. And you have to add personality. You have to be able to control, to manipulate emotions, to bring people to the highest of highs and then bring them down to the lowest of lows, and to push and to pull and to get them interested in your story and to share it with them in a way that they want to be part of it. So all of this is to tell you, you can date models and pop stars. You can date the hottest girls. You can date the Instagram models. Whether or not you actually want to, I know you think you want to, but whether or not you actually want to is a different story, because you might not want to as much as you actually think. However, you can. And you can date them in the exact same way that you can date any other girl, which is have the personality. Be exciting. Be the roller coaster, not the merry-go-round. Because when you are that person, you actually get to pick. You get to choose who you want. Why? Because you can talk to anybody and you can attract anybody. You can bring anybody into your orbit, into your circle, into your world, into your universe, and they want to be there. They're excited to be there. Why? Because you're exciting. You're fun. You're doing things that other people are not, and you're seeing the world in a way that other people are not. You're literally bending and shaping reality to be what you want, and that is incredibly exciting. That is so amazing, and it's so fun to be part of, especially when you compare it to all the boring bobs out there who are just going through life on zombie mode. Now, with all that said, I'm sure that there's a ton of stuff that I left out, a ton of questions to get to, a ton of comments that we've got in here. At this point, if you're watching and you haven't yet done it, please hit the like button, hit the thumbs up button. If you found any of this useful, fun, exciting, interesting, boring. If you thought that this was boring, hit the thumbs down button. If you learned something new in here, hit the thumbs up. If you know somebody who could benefit from this message, maybe you have a friend who could use a little bit of a personality injection, a little booster, if you will, share this with him. Send it over to him so that he can start learning how to develop that personality and be more fun for you to be around too. Do all that stuff for me, please. Hit the like button, hit the, it really does help. And it would mean a lot to me personally if you do that. So thank you very much for that. And with all that said, I'm now going to move over to the Papa Jack chair and bring in my friends from, other places, and we're going to get started with the Q&A. Paul, would you do the honors, sir?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
It looks like it's just going to be me and you today.
You know, our lovely and always reliable friend who definitely you can count on all the time. I just confirmed with him like 1 hour ago that he was like, I'm definitely going to be there. I'm definitely going to be on today. I'm not going to miss anything. Yeah. Okay. Well, as you can see, it's working out very well for him. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. It's been a quite exciting week, actually. I've been starting to look into the possibility of moving back to Bergen once my contract finishes.
Hey, that's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear.
Talking to a couple recruiters, trying to set up some interviews in Bergen, and we'll see what happens.
For remote work stuff?
Not necessarily remote work, but at least moving back to Bergen so that I have my network and friends and everything around.
I misheard you. I thought you said I'm thinking of moving back to Korea. That's why I got so excited.
Well, that's always in the back of my mind, and you know that.
Yeah, fair enough. Simba, do you want to come say hi? You want to come up here? Okay, come on. Come on. Oh, Bento. Don't be a butthead. All right, Simba, say hi. Say hi. All right, let's jump into the questions because we have a ton today.
Yeah, we have quite a lot. So I think I'm just going to start at the top. What are the pros and cons of dating models and pop stars? And what kind of types do they usually fall under?
Types first. Your models are mostly going to be attention whores. You're not going to find very many sluts. You're not going to find very many alcoholics. You're not going to find very many cheaters. And one of the reasons for this is because both of these jobs, let me get the mic back over here. It's way up there. Both of these jobs seem very glamorous and exciting, but the reality of them is deathly boring. It's literally just doing the exact same shit every single day without end. And so you might even find actually worker bees that they fit with that kind of archetype. But I would say that for models, you're mostly going to find attention whores or the type, depending on what kind of model, right? Like if they're like models for a company, then more likely worker bee types. But if they're influencers, if they're, Instagram models or something like that, or if they're just like booty models or something, those are just attention whores for the most part. Pros and cons. Pros, they are very, very attractive. Cons, they are always super busy. You cannot have a jealous bone in your body at all because they are being hit on everywhere they go all the time by everybody. And you cannot be jealous because that comes across as a lack of confidence and just pure neediness. And it's just the quickest way to get dumped is to be jealous or to ask her to choose between you and her job. Like, that's not going to go well for you. I don't know why you would ever think to do that, right? Some of the other cons, they really don't have as much time and attention for you as most people would want. Like, unless you are a naturally very, very independent person who just I don't care. Like I technically have a girlfriend, or I technically have a wife, but like we don't even really see each other that often. She travels a lot for work, or maybe you travel a lot for work, right? Then it can work out okay. But for most people, they want that kind of like intimacy and companionship and spending time together and creating memories and creating a life together and all that stuff. You're not going to be able to find that with these girls, at least not much, not as much as most people would like. Can you think of any others?
I was thinking a little bit about the types. So it's like I don't necessarily know a lot of Instagram like influencers,
Yeah,
but as for models, like my experience with them is usually like they're on like either prudes, worker bees, even shy girls. Like I know so many models that are just complete other shy girls.
yeah,
Like outside their job, they prefer to be alone. Like they don't really like the attention they're getting.
yeah, yeah.
And so like a lot of them you will see if you notice them in a bar, like sometimes they're just sitting there completely quiet, trying to ignore everyone and just having a drink with their friend
That's
because someone dragged them out.
that's exactly correct. Were you with us the night in Thursday party when Rich and I went over and started chatting up those two models?
I might have been. It's
Okay,
been a
I
couple
can't
times.
remember, but
Yeah, it's
one of
quite a
them,
while ago.
yeah, it was a while back, but it might have overlapped when you
Hmm.
were here. Um, but those both of those girls were pretty much shy girls, and one of them was just a little bit more extroverted than the other, and had basically drug her friend out there. And now the two of them are just sitting alone in the corner of Thursday party, where everybody is just going wild and going crazy around them, and they're just sitting there like having like a little talk, like two city mice or something, right? But whenever we started chatting with them and we got them to open up a little bit more, they were absolutely in for it, right? They were excited to have somebody fun, somebody interesting to talk to them. Here's a fun one. While we were chatting with them, these Korean guys walked over and tried to like swoop them. They tried to like AMOG us away, and Rich and I just sat back and we just let them. We're just like, okay, cool. Let's see what you got, man. Shoot your shot. Go for it. And the girls looked at us, and then they looked at the guys, and they looked back at us, and they were like, "What the hell are you guys doing? Are you okay? Like, did your mother not teach you how to act in society? What the hell is wrong with you? I'm sitting here talking with this guy. I'm sitting here talking with Jack right now. Why are you coming over trying to be an ass?" Right? And she went off on these guys. Not because I did anything, actually probably because I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't it wasn't like I was sitting back and like I was nervous and like, "Oh, you take care of this," or something. It was the opposite. It was just a complete confidence move of like, yeah, yeah, just if you like that, if you think that's a better deal than this, go for it. But I know the answer to this. Uh, so yeah, that's actually what I was talking about earlier with displaying the confidence and displaying the emotional intelligence of understanding a situation, being able to read it, and being able to predict it with pretty high degree of accuracy. Next, I'm sorry, was there any more on that?
No, I
Types
think
or pros
we
and cons?
covered it,
Okay,
most of it, I think. Okay, so I'm gonna go to one of the other ones here. Is like, what is the first and most important skill to have, like, or to improve upon? Like, how can you practically like practice in order to start dating these types of girls?
right. Okay, cool. Boys, stop. Bento, do you need to go to horny jail? Hey, come here. All right. Okay, let me go lock them up. Hold on. I'll be right back.
Yeah, so at least I can say from my experience, like what the
Yeah,
most
yeah, do that.
probably most important thing to learn is storytelling. Like you need to know how to kind of entice them and like your story and the way you explain things and even just talk about your daily life has to be in a very entertaining or exciting fashion. So like you need to make sure like to keep them engaged and you need everything needs to be some sort of exciting adventure for them. At
Yeah.
least that's my experience because their normal life is either very boring or they live a jet set life where everything is happening so fast they don't really have time to enjoy anything.
But that's also boring.
Yeah,
Like that's one of those things that people people don't understand. They see that jet set life on Instagram or on YouTube or something, and they're like, "Oh wow, that sounds so fun. That sounds so amazing." And it's like, man, it's just like everything else in the world. It's the same as working an accounting job, which is if you know how to find the world exciting and fun, then yes, it's exciting and fun. But if you know how to find the world exciting and fun, then your accounting job is also exciting and fun. And your life is exciting and fun without doing those things. Adding them in doesn't change whether or not you think that it's exciting. It just changes the setting, the scenery, the backdrop. That's it. But yeah,
yeah,
learning how to tell the story, right? Learning how to tell a story well is critical.
yeah. I think it's very important to remember like the life that people see they live. Like when you see someone live a jet set life, like you think of everything as experiences and fun things to do. For them, it's literally what they do to get paid,
Yeah.
right? Like this is their job. This is what they do every single day. So at some point, like maybe their first year is very exciting, but then it just gets boring. It gets the same.
Yeah.
It's same shit, different place, right?
Yeah. Well, and like work is work. No matter what it is, work is work. And it's that way because it's something that you would rather not be doing. Now, of course, some jobs are more exciting and more fun to you than other jobs are. Like, there's not enough money in the world for you to pay me to be a lawyer, right? Like, there's that sounds like actual hell to me. Just be like, okay, cool. We just need you to read this 500-page document with a fine-tooth comb and make sure that there are no misspellings, no typos. Make sure that every loophole is closed. Make sure that like, oh no way, right? But the reality is that what people see online of this jet set life, of this constant travel and work life, is about the equivalent of like what you see of a lawyer on TV, right? Where it's like, oh, that's not actually what a lawyer does, right? That's about as realistic. So it's just work, and work sucks, but work can be fun, right? Like this is fun. This is work for me. This is fun. This is great. I love doing it. Also, I'm dead exhausted today. I got about 3 hours of sleep last night. Before the stream started, I managed to squeeze in like a 15-minute power nap, and I wanted to just go to bed. Can't. It's work, right? So just like anything else in the world, I'm not complaining. It's just what it is. Same thing with the models, with the singers, the actors, whatever else. It's work. I'm sorry. What was the question? I got
Uh,
so
it was
sidetracked.
like, what's the first or most important skill to improve?
Yeah. Along with storytelling, storytelling kind of goes hand in hand with the thing that I was saying earlier about learning to see the world and your life as exciting, as magical, as something special and interesting. And that's not really a skill. It's just a decision to start looking at things that way. You get better at it over time. So I guess it's kind of a skill. But as far as skills go that you can immediately start practicing and learning, your wit would be the most important and the easiest to actually start working on. Because with wit, the examples that I was giving earlier about like learning to play with words, learning to make different references, learning to intentionally misinterpret what somebody says and taking them literally instead of understanding their actual meaning, but on purpose for the sake of being fun, being interesting. You can start practicing that by yourself at home. You just talk to yourself all the time and try to make yourself laugh and try to practice making these jokes and try to practice making plays on words and making references and making unexpected connections and all that. Wit is not difficult to train up. Oh my God, I thought that I just separated the two of them. Hold on. All right, y'all stay here. Whatever. I just locked them in the room. Lady North is in there. They'll be fine. So yeah, practicing your wit has an outsized impact compared to many of the other things that guys would normally want to try. I do want to put in a little bit of a caveat that ignoring your money situation, ignoring your physical health is not the key to success, right? Like personality is absolutely the pinnacle. That's the most important thing by far, for sure. But that doesn't mean that you should be 200 pounds overweight and broke as hell and stink and all that stuff either. So practice your wit, learn how to engage your personality more, show people more about yourself, make it more exciting and interesting. Absolutely. But if you're just in a completely busted place physically or financially, you need to get your stuff to just an acceptable minimum. Let's move on to the next question. We have a lot to get through.
Yeah, so here's two questions, and I think it makes sense to kind of put them together.
Okay.
That is, what do these types of girl care about the most, as well as how, or do you treat them any different because of that?
Excitement and no. All right. I'll expand a little bit. First, do you treat them differently? No, not even a little bit. The adage that I've used before, that I've said a dozen times on this stream, is treat your sixes like nines and your nines like sixes, and they will love you for it. And that's absolutely the truth whenever it comes to, do you treat them differently? You don't at all. Most people do that. Most people try to, like they walk on eggshells around them. They're worried about offending them, about upsetting them, about whatever else. And the fact that you're not worried about it, the fact that you don't treat them differently, that you don't bow down and supplicate to whatever they want, that you don't simp for them like everybody else, moves you way up in their respect, in their regard. You absolutely should not treat them any differently at all. As far as what they care about the most, they are just like everybody else. They want to get out of their boring life. Everybody hates the shit they do. Like we were just talking about, like it's work, right? Nobody likes their daily boring routine because it's boring, because they're living life on zombie mode. And so they want something that breaks them out of that. They want something that takes them away, that helps them to see the world differently. They want to be shown the code of the Matrix. And that's excitement, right? That's what that is, or at least that's how she's going to perceive it. So yeah, that's the most important thing. That's what they care about the most. They're obviously, they will have higher physical standards than a 4, right? A 4 doesn't care about anything. She just cares about attention. But girls like this don't care for attention for attention's sake. But along with excitement, the other one is actual emotional intelligence. Like somebody who listens to them and understands them for who they are, and and gets them and talks to them on a real level and isn't afraid to tell them, like, you're being stupid. You know that, right? Like, you're mad at her because she said this thing and she's mad at you because you reacted like this. This is fucking stupid. Why don't you just apologize, because it doesn't matter, and just move on like a damn big girl, right? Like, this doesn't matter. To actually call them out on things like that and to tell them what you think and how you feel, but doing it from a place of, I completely understand you. I know what you're saying, and I'm still going to tell you that this is what I think. That was very, very effective for me. And I don't mean understanding in the way of like how most guys would think of understanding. Most guys think understanding is being malleable, being flexible, being able to like, oh yeah, I totally get it. I totally understand your situation. You know, you're too busy to hang out these days, right? You don't have much time. Yeah. Like, I get it. That's not understanding. That's not understanding. That's just being a pussy. The difference would be, understanding would be, okay, I get that you're busy, but let's be entirely honest. If you want to see me, you can make the time, can't you? So what is it that you are trying to tell me? And like seeing through the bullshit on top and actually calling out what's underneath, actually understanding them, right? So I think that those are the most important.
Yeah, I definitely agree on the part where like you don't treat them any differently. I see a lot of guys, especially like once you start coming into eights, nines, and tens, they start to put them on a pedestal, and like they just completely simp out, and 3 months later they're single again. So I think like that part is very important to like just treat them like sixes. Like
Yeah,
make sure that they don't feel any different from any other girl you've ever dated.
exactly.
As for what they care about, like in my experience, like for them, like their life is already kind of hectic and messed up, and they get a lot of attention, and that also includes a lot of wrong attention.
Yeah.
So just making sure, like, both to give them the attention that they want to have, in case of like they don't want you to treat them as gods. They want to be treated like regular people, as well as you can't really like you need to set your boundaries. Like with these types of girls, like you have to have very clear boundaries for what is okay and what's not okay. And she needs to know that. Like she needs to know what to expect or where your boundaries are.
Yeah.
On the flip side of that, of course, you can't have a jealous bone in your body if you want to date girls like these, because they
Exactly.
get hit on every 2 seconds.
Yeah.
If it's either 100 messages on Instagram every single hour, or
Some dude
like,
trying to slide into her DMs or whatever else.
yeah, or like you can even be on a date and other guys will try to hit on her while you're having dinner or sitting at a bar.
Yeah.
It's like,
Exactly the story that I just told.
yeah.
Right?
So like you really need to like
Okay.
let the girl know that you trust them. Like it's not very typical for these types of girls to be cheaters in general,
Yeah.
because they get so much disgust for men in general because of the way men behave.
Well, here's the thing is that the cheater type is a result of wanting constant new experiences and excitement, and everything has to be new, and that's the cool thing. That's what they want. Whatever's new, whatever's fresh is the thing that they want. If you can literally pick anybody you want, you don't have any reason to cheat, do you? Right? Because like
Yeah.
you saw all the options. You chose me, rightly or wrongly. But now, like, why would you step out, right? There's no reason. So yeah, most of these girls actually are very loyal and they don't cheat. But they will be in a lot of situations where other people would cheat. And if you start getting jealous and you start getting controlling, understand this. First of all, you're acting needy as fuck and you're giving the wrong kinds of attention. You don't want to do that. But second, and even more damning, is the fact that when you're worried about her being in those situations, what you're basically saying to her is, if I were in that situation, I absolutely would cheat. So that's why I'm worried that you will. Oh, uh-oh. Self-indictment time. Hey, don't do that. Let's keep going. Next question.
And then the next question then is where is it easier to find them? And if you first find them, how do you keep them? And I think as for how do you keep them, I think we've talked about that a lot in like terms of the rest. So let's just go into where to find them, I guess. And I think in my experience, like it's not something I would ever go looking for. It's more like all of a sudden there is this girl in corner pub or in Thursday party, and you just go talk to them, and oh shit, it's a model.
Yeah.
It's like, of course, there are places where you can actively go hunt for models, I guess.
Yeah.
But also then that also comes at the expense of then you have to go to the high-end bars, high-end clubs, and those girls are not there to look for anyone. They are mostly there because they're either being paid to promote the club or
or
just being there.
They're there to be seen being there.
Yeah.
Because if you're talking about like whatever the club is that's replaced Octagon as like the club, then people go there largely to say that they are the people who go there, right? They don't go there to hook up. Hookups do happen there, but hookups are going to be way more common at Thursday party than they are going to be at those high-end nightclubs, because people who go there aren't going there to get blasted and let loose and have a great time. They're going there for work of some kind, even if they're not actually working. It might just be like social status work of like, well, I'm the kind of girl who goes here, or I just need to be seen here. I need to be in these pictures. I need to be doing this, whatever else. Like it's not actually the right situation that you think it is. As far as other places to find them, like I said earlier, they are just people most of the time, right? Only when they are working do they actually present as models or as singers or actresses or whatever else. Most of the time they probably go out and about. You know, they go to cafes, they go to restaurants, they go to the bookstore, they go to the doctor's office, they go to the dentist, they go wherever the fuck they go, right? Just like normal people shit. So instead of thinking like, where do I meet this girl? Think, oh, well, where can I meet people? Because that's actually your answer, is they are out and about in places where everybody else is. I met the pop star who I dated. Obviously, I can't on live stream. I can't say who it was because officially, they're not allowed to ever have boyfriends or date, right? But I met her on the street in a neighborhood next to Itaewon, and I was shit-faced. And just walking down the street after I had finished playing a show and getting drunk afterwards, and I was walking to the next bar, I had my guitar on my back, and I was like, hey, you look like a cool girl. You know the cool places to hang out? And she was like, what? No, actually, I'm not cool at all. I don't know any of the places. I just finished my singing rehearsal. And I was like, what? It's like 1 a.m. on Saturday night. How are you just finishing your rehearsal? That's insane. By the way, I'm also a musician. You sing well? Yeah, I sing pretty well. Cool. I'll tell you what, listen, let's make some music sometime together. Maybe we can write some songs, or we can do a performance together or something like that. Here, drop your number into my phone. And she did. And then I completely forgot about her. So first of all, met her on the street in a side neighborhood outside of Itaewon, like just somewhere, right? But I was exciting. I had personality. She wanted to talk to me more. She gave me her number. And then I completely forgot. Got blackout drunk that night. Did not remember this at all. Only reason I know what happened is because like 6 months later or something, I got a message on my phone and she was like, hey, this is, I got a new number and I wanted to make sure that you have it so that we can talk still. And I was like, oh, cool. But I don't mean to be rude. Who are you? Like, how did we meet? And she was like, oh, we met. You were drunk in Itaewon, this, whatever else. And I was like, okay, cool. Oh, yeah. Let's hang out. Let's hang out and play some music. And I still didn't even know that she was actually a pop star. I had no idea. She was just really hot. And we met up and we started dating. And like once we actually met up and I found out what she did, I was like, oh, that actually sounds like it sucks. Right? Like, does it suck as much as I think? And she's like, oh, worse. It's awful. I hate it. Yeah, okay, cool. Understood her. Right? So instantly, everything that I did in this story that I just told you, whether intentionally or by accident, moved me up the ladder in her mind of this guy's cool. Oh, this guy just doesn't care about anything. That's attractive. He's exciting. He's busy. He's living this life. He has, how many girls of this name has he met? Oh my goodness. He doesn't even remember me. Wait, am I like actually a 6? Oh my God. Well, but wait. And then he understands that my job isn't cool. It's not glamorous. It fucking sucks. Oh, that's how. Does that kind of answer the question? Because there's no answer.
Yeah, I think so.
There's no answer of where you meet them, right?
Yeah, I think it's just you meet them by accident. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's the way you have to go about it.
Yeah. Now, I mean, of course, you can reduce the amount of luck required by being in places where people go, right? Like and if we're being entirely honest, you have a higher chance of meeting a model in Apgujeong than you do at Corner Pub. But
yeah,
not by a significant amount. Like, you may have a higher chance of seeing them for sure, but a higher chance of seeing someone who's actually open and just out to have a good time and out to party and like, I don't know, maybe like 40-60 there on like slightly better chances in Apgujeong, but not by as wide a margin as you would think.
I think I've met more influencers in Hongdae than in Apgujeong, but more actual models in Apgujeong.
Yeah, probably. Most of the actors and actresses that I've met, though, I've met in Hongdae and in Haehwa as well, and the areas surrounding it, because that's where all of the stage acting happens, like all the plays, and most of the people who actually are actors, like, want to be real actors, not just pretty face on TV number 6 or whatever, like, but actual actors and actresses. They do the TV and movie stuff, but they also still do the stage performances too. And most of their connections and where they started out is all there. And so they'll still be hanging around in those areas. So you can regularly meet. Again, you're just trying to minimize the luck, but they're just people, you know?
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next question.
Okay, so here's another one from Kakao. It's, did you ever pursue models, hot girls out of ego, or when did you ever grow out of that pursuit? And then it says parentheses panel. So I guess the question was meant for me and Caesar.
Yeah.
The answer is no. I did never actually pursue models. Whenever I actually started dating girls like that, was opportunity. Like, I ran into a girl and, oh shit, you're a model. Oh, cool. Let's have a drink. Like, let's go on a date, whatever, right? It was never really like a goal to date models. It was just happened by accident. So I don't think it's something that I did out of ego either. It was more like, yeah, this girl is cool. Let's see if she's cool in the long term. Like, is it more than just superficial modeling beauty, or is it actually a genuine person underneath?
Yeah.
So it was more like just opportunity.
Mm. I definitely had that impulse when I was young, like when I was 21, 22. I had an image in my head of, well, if I walk in with the hottest girl on my arm, then everybody else will be impressed. And it's like, and as I got older and I actually started digging a little bit deeper on that, I was like, wait a minute. I want to date a girl to impress dudes. That's kind of fucking gay, isn't it? Right? Like, hold
Yeah,
on a minute. Am I gay? No, okay, I'm not gay. So then why am I doing this? What am I trying to get here? What am I actually trying to get here? Because if it's not sexual attention from the dudes, then what is it that I feel like I'm lacking that I'm trying to fill that space with what? Like I'm trying to fill my lack of or my feeling of lack of approval and validation by just using a human as a prop. What the fuck? That's like really fucked up whenever you think
yeah.
about it,
I
right?
think like I remember like when I was younger too, like you had that feel like if you could walk into a place with the hottest girl, you would feel better. And I think
Yeah,
it's a lack of confidence thing.
it is.
I would say today, like compared to necessarily walking into the bar with the hottest girl, if I
Walking
can go
out.
out, if I can go out every single day and bring a girl home, that gives me way more confidence than necessarily bringing the hottest girl to the bar,
Sure.
right?
Well, and the other thing worth noting is that whenever you have that mindset, that mentality, that kind of ego driven thing, you can't date these girls. Like you
No,
can't. You're not ready. They will not respond well to you. They can sniff that out instantly because they get that shit all the time. Like they instantly know exactly what it is. Um, sorry. So the ego thing, and then what was the other part to the question?
like when you do grow out of it,
Yeah. Uh, whenever I don't know, probably.
your general confidence level was high enough that you didn't
Yeah,
care anymore.
exactly. Yeah. So probably around like 26, 27. Once I was able to actually just start dating kind of at will, just whenever I wanted to. Um, and I said this earlier. I said that this whole lesson and everything we're talking about today, this is all geared towards experienced guys who actually know what they're doing. Um, there's nothing on this whiteboard, and there's nothing that I can say that's going to take a guy who can't pull a 5 and make him able to pull a 9. So if you don't have the confidence to be out there pulling 5s and 6s or dating them, you stand no chance with the 9. Not because she's hot, not because of leagues, but because you aren't there. She has a lot more experience. She's seen a lot more bullshit, and you're just showing up as a complete novice to essentially a professional's arena, right? It's the
Yeah, I
same way
think
that like don't try to lie to the IRS guy about your taxes because he's seen it, he's heard it. You just do your best on it, and if you're real, if you're honest, and if you actually know what you're doing, then that's a different thing altogether.
yeah, I think one thing is very important to remember. It's like the higher up the scale you get, the less bullshit you get away with. So
Yeah,
like with a 4 you can get away with anything, right?
yeah,
Like a 5 and a 6, like okay, you need to tone down your bullshit. 7 and 8, then okay, they accept maybe once every
yeah,
now
a
and then.
little bit, yeah.
And then yeah, and then when you go over to like the 9s and the 10s, it's like yeah, there is no room for bullshitting your way through it.
Yeah.
It's just impossible. Like you
Yeah.
need to
You have to
be
be
the
rock
person you,
solid.
yeah. And I think going there from there is like we can go into another topic. Is like, um, and this has come because another question from the Instagram was, how do you compete with competitive women in a relationship? Like typically your career girls, your boss woman, the girls that do not follow your lead, whatever you do.
Yeah.
Um, so like a woman that wants to challenge you rather than follow.
What I have done in those situations that's worked really well is, first of all, you need to understand why she's doing these things. If she's doing these things because she doesn't respect you and she is just trying to keep on knocking you down, knocking you down, knocking you down, then you just need to get out, right? But if you're in a relationship with her and it's not that she doesn't like you or that she doesn't respect you, but just she is a very challenging person. She doesn't like to follow what people say. Okay, cool. What I would do with that is I would actually turn it into a bit of a game, right? And I would pick and choose your battles, basically. So on some things where she says like, no, I don't want to do that on Saturday. I want to go see the Barbie movie or whatever it is. Like, okay, cool. Tell you what, I like that. Let's go see the Barbie movie, and we'll go get this. We'll go get the Texas barbecue afterwards for dinner because that's actually what I wanted. And okay, perfect, right? You pick your battles. You find win-win situations. These types of people, not just these types of girls, but these types of people love when they get what they want, but also you're happy about it. They love win-win situations. And so if you can learn how to create that, whether that's through compromise or through negotiation or through like, oh, I'm totally not fighting about this thing, right? Like, oh, that's what you want to do?
Mm.
Yeah, I don't care. Okay, you win. That's what we're going to do. Cool. A million ways to do win-win situations, but you want to make it so that she wins, but you both feel good about it. That's exactly what I would do in a situation like that. Is I would find ways to compromise and to negotiate and to create win-win scenarios whenever possible. Because when you do that, you're still leading, right? Like she says, no, I don't want to go see Oppenheimer. I want to go see the Barbie movie this Saturday. Okay, cool. Awesome. Actually, what I really wanted was to get Texas barbecue after the movie. I wasn't too worried about which movie we saw. So this works out perfectly. I'm curious about the Barbie movie. I've heard things about it. We'll see. We can discuss it over dinner afterwards, right? Awesome. You can create that win-win situation so that she feels like she got what she wanted, but also you're happy about it. And then you both walk away with a smile on your face.
I think that is very accurate. Another thing that I found that works very well is you need to be a little bit unpredictable. So these types of girls are typically very, like, they expect a reaction. They know they're gonna get some sort of reaction whenever they go into that challenging mode.
Yeah.
And if you don't react the way that they think you will,
Yeah.
it instantly throws them off their game. And then in the end, you will end up leading again.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
for me specifically, this is, or for at least the past 10 years, this has been my go-to type of girl.
Mm,
Like all my long-term relationships in the past 10 years have been this type.
yeah.
Always rebellious, always challenging, always a career girl. Like very typically you'll find this in these girls in management positions.
Worker bee
Uh,
types.
yeah, it comes with worker bee types once you get over like the lower levels.
Yeah.
So once you get into management or upper management or leadership roles, like these girls are typically the ones you'll find.
Yeah.
And they will challenge you every step of the way. In the beginning, they won't. And then once they have you, then the game begins.
Yeah.
And it happens every time.
Yeah, sure. And like unpredictable responses can be using the example that I gave earlier, where she says, "No, I don't want to go see Oppenheimer. I want to see the Barbie movie." And you say, "Oh my God, how did you know? I've been dying to see the Barbie movie. Like, oh my God. I've never mentioned this before, but I have such a huge crush on Ryan Gosling." Right. And like it keeps going from there. And it's silly, but also it's just like, wait, what? I'm sorry. Hold on a second. Are you going to enjoy this more than me? I don't. Maybe we should see Oppenheimer. Is this going to turn gay? I don't know what's happening here. You can use that unpredictability, that kind of capriciousness. Also, if you understand worker bees well, then this kind of becomes almost a moot point, because what worker bees really like is they really like surprises. They really like this kind of like the fun, the mystery, the suspense, the build up, all that kind of stuff. And so if you want her to try some wacky shit in bed, then be like, hey, here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna blindfold you, and we're gonna try something new today. But I'm not gonna tell you what it is. Don't worry, it's not gonna hurt, right? No blood, no bodily fluids, nothing weird, right? But we're going to try something new today. And you create a mystery, you create suspense, you create this kind of feeling of, oh my God, what could it be? What could it be? And her first reaction is going to be like, wait, no, what? I don't want that. I don't want a surprise. I don't want that. Shh. Yeah, you do. Come here. I'm not going to tell you what it is. If you want to find out, you have to put on the blindfold. And you create this mystery for them to solve, because it's a puzzle. It's solving a puzzle. These types of girls love puzzles. Create puzzles with mystery, with the unknown, with using things like that. You create yourself as a puzzle. If you are unpredictable, if you are capricious, if you do change how you act or what things affect your mood or anything like that, even if you're having to not exactly fake it, but kind of affect a different emotional response to things than what you would normally or naturally have, you can use that to keep them guessing. And guessing is a good thing because it's fun, it's interesting, it's exciting. All right, cool. Anything else on that one?
I think we've covered most of them. There are a couple like single questions left, but I think those are either covered by this, like the lesson itself, or it's been probably taken up in like the last 5 streams we've had. So I don't think we need to cover them again.
Okay, cool. Well, let's just have a quick read, and we'll just do a rapid fire. I'll do 30 seconds, you do 30 seconds, and then move.
Perfect. What's the difference between gaming Western girl and Korean Asian girls? I imagine switching up your style, as the culture are pretty different.
Cultures are massively different. You just play to your strengths in whatever the place is that you are now. When you're in Korea, you play into being a foreigner who has certain skills and certain experiences. When you're in the West, you play to being a traveler, a citizen of the world, this, that, or whatever your skills are in the different cultures and different places is what you play to. That's the same everywhere. What do you think, Paul?
Well, first of all, I don't date Western girls.
Yeah, right.
And why would I? I think the biggest difference is that you need to know how you as a person play out in the different cultures. Like for me in Asia specifically, I am looked as exotic, tall, generally handsome. While here, if I date someone in Norway, I'm completely average. So then I have to play to other strengths. Like I own my own company, I run my own business.
Yeah.
like playing to those kind of strengths.
Yeah.
The next one is, what should one consider about oneself before attempting to date models and influencers? And I think we covered that pretty much in the lesson. You can't have a jealous bone. Like
Yeah.
you can't be affected by what she does, because she is gonna get so much attention from it.
Yeah, and making sure that your ego is not the driving factor. Kill your ego. Your ego is literally your enemy. It's trying to sabotage you at all times. It's trying to stop you from getting what you want out of life and out of relationships. Kill the ego, for sure.
Yeah. And then second to last is, what types of guys are suited slash can handle models, hot girls for long-term relationship? And I would say anyone. Uh, as long as you have the other things like your ego and your jealousy in check, you're good.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Then it's just about being, can you be entertaining enough or exciting enough?
yeah, that's definitely a big part of it. Even more than that, right? Like with the really hot girls, the models, the actresses, the pop stars, whatever else. Like, do you know their type? Because there's a good reason that none of these are one of the 14 types. Like, there's not the model or the actress or whatever, because it's not a personality type. It's just they're hot and they have a given talent. That's all. More important is actually understanding their type, understanding who they are. So, who can keep these kinds of girls? The guys who actually get who they are, the guys who actually know their types. And the ones who don't, you won't be able to even get with them probably, but you definitely won't be able to keep them if you don't understand.
And lastly, here is, what was the dynamic with hot girls before Instagram came along? Was it easier or harder?
Yes.
I think I can go first here, I guess. I think after Instagram, so probably has become easier in the top end if you actually have the personality for it. And the reason for that is that they get so much bad shit. Like
Yeah.
they get so many bad attempts. So any genuine, good, entertaining, exciting person becomes very different from what they're used to. So in that sense, it's probably easier. However, it comes at the flip side that also, because it's easier to contact them and try to slide into their DMs, you will have a lot more competition, or not necessarily competition, but you will notice that there are a lot more people hitting on them now than before.
Yeah, I mean, the if you think that your biggest opponent or biggest ally in dating hot girls is Instagram, you already lose. Right? Like it's I didn't mention social media once in this lesson. I have done all of this with social media being around, and I wasn't using any social media. So was it my ally? Was it my opponent? It was neither. It's just a thing that exists. Like, to me, this is like saying, is it easier to hook up with alcoholics before or after prohibition? Right? Like, what? No, like you're missing the point, right? It's what is the hole that she's trying to use Instagram to fill? Is she using Instagram solely for work, or is she using it for personal reasons? If she's using it solely for work, it doesn't affect you one bit. If she's using it for personal reasons, if it's because she needs more attention, more validation, why is that? What's going on? Understand her. Be interesting, be exciting, be emotionally intelligent, and it doesn't matter because you
Yeah,
win.
it comes back to the types again, right?
Yeah,
Like, is she the attention whore, or is she just a worker bee, or any other sort of type, right?
exactly.
And
So, yeah,
I think for worker bees, like that uses Instagram quite successfully, it's actually a benefit to you, and it makes it easier because they get all of these things that they do not want.
Yeah.
So whenever you come along and are in actual man and know what you're doing, it's a lot easier than when trying to than the rest of the people that are trying to get it through Instagram.
Yeah. Well, and what breaks my heart with this question is that whoever is asking this question almost certainly, because I don't know who has asked these questions. I have no idea. But whoever asked this question almost certainly is thinking to themselves, right, so can I use Instagram to slide into her DMs? Basically, can I be one of the many who's doing the exact same thing as everybody else? And like, no, you cannot. No, you cannot.
I can say that what happened to your microphone?
Did it stop?
No, it started picking up me as well.
You're so magnetic, Paul, that
what I was gonna say is that even though I use my Instagram quite actively, I do not care shit about followers, and so far I have only ever asked and gotten one date off Instagram. Only ever once. Only one time did I slide into someone's DMs.
Yeah.
And that was not because I was sliding into her DMs, because it was the only form of contact I had with that girl.
Yeah.
And we had met in person before. It was just I was drunk and stupid and got her Instagram instead of her phone number.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And like that can absolutely happen when you're using it correctly, which is simply as a means of communicating things and sharing things between people who know one another. Then you're probably fine. But that's not how most people use it. So you want to be like most people, you're going to get the same results as most people. Here's a hint. Most people aren't dating models. So what's your result going to be? Yeah. I think that's enough on that topic. Do we have any other questions, or did anybody add anything into the Discord or into the chat?
No, there was nothing more from the original questions. No, I think we're done.
Okay, cool. Awesome. No questions in the comments or in the live chat?
No, the comments today have been very slow.
Tepid. Maybe, yeah. All right, awesome. Well, in that case then, let's go ahead and wrap this up. If you guys have made it this far, you're still watching, and you haven't yet hit the like button, please do that. It means a lot to me. It helps the channel grow. It helps the algorithm like us more. We get big, warm YouTube hugs whenever you hit that thumbs up button. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet. And if you want to learn how to actually build your system for yourself so that you can start dating the hottest girls, it's very easy. All you have to do is go over to realjacknorth.com right now, sign up for a free call with me. I will help you one-on-one and help you create a personalized strategy that's going to put you on the path towards pussy perfection. So if that's what you want, realjacknorth.com is your place for it. And until next week, boys, Tired Papa Jack out.